Welcome aboard Scenic Eclipse 2, one of the world's first discovery yachts. I'm Pat Horgan and I'll be your discovery leader for the next 10 days along this outstanding Kimberley coast. Throughout our time on board, we have a variety of activities planned. We'll be navigating the coastal waters of the Kimberley coastline. We'll be cruising in Zodiacs, searching for wildlife. We'll be going up in the air in our helicopters. And finally, we'll be learning about the Aboriginal people of Australia and their ancestors. There's a reason why we call this place the last wilderness. The Kimberley will take you back in time, and I hope everyone who comes here gets to feel that sense of being in another world. And once again, welcome aboard Scenic Eclipse 2, on an adventure that will leave you changed forever.
Our journey begins in the vibrant town of Broome, into the heart of the Kimberley region.
This area is situated on the land of the Yawarru people, one of the many Indigenous communities that can be found in Australia.
Surrounded by beautiful beaches and stunning landscapes, Broome serves as the perfect starting point for our expedition through the Kimberley. As we embark on this journey, we will witness nature at its most raw and untamed, immersing ourselves in the rugged and unspoiled surroundings of this stunning landscape.
We traveled overnight here northbound towards the Lassabete Islands. This is about 120 kilometers north of Broome, and we're out here now, and it's a series of 4 different islands that form a kind of an archipelago. It is an important nature reserve, and it hosts about 60 different species of nesting birds over time. These islands were named after a French explorer named Lassabete, who was here in the 1800s. And he found the area, and part of the draw of this wasn't just so much the birds, but it was guano, which became an important economic commodity during the 1800s and early 1900s. The guano was created by the brown booby, which is one of the predominant species here, and there's over 18,000 pairs of them, which represents approximately 1% of the world population. One of the things that happened, of course, with the human settlement was that the sailors brought rats, not on purpose, but inadvertently on their ships. Once those rats got ashore, they had a bountiful amount of food here in the form of all the seabirds that are here, and they devastated the populations. And it was only in the 1980s that the rats were eradicated from this area, and since there's been a major rebound of the seabird populations throughout this entire complex area.
Certainly one of the icons of the Kimberley is Yawajabba, or Montgomery Reef, and one of my heroes, Sir David Attenborough, called it one of the great natural wonders of the world. And you can really see that when you go there. It's 400 square kilometres, of which over 200 square kilometres is this extraordinary reef. Like Atlantis, you see it seemingly rise out of the sea, but of course it's just the water receding constantly, making this incredibly dynamic ecosystem where everything has to have evolved. And going in there and feeling that power, nosing up into those torrents as they're coming up and going right up to the front of it, or the head of it, where it becomes this wide piece, and you're just feeling that energy underneath you, and it just keeps going and going until, of course, water finds its own level. And this is what makes the place so magical, because the tide goes up, the tide goes out, and it just keeps moving.
So mangroves can be found around the tropics in many coastal areas, for example, Indonesia, Brazil, but also the Kimberleys. We have around 18 different species of mangroves here with many different varieties, so it's one of the hotspots for mangroves around the world. And with the mangroves here, with the different tides, you can really perceive how important they are and how it helps the ecosystem to be healthy. And hidden among the mangroves, we can find the king of the coast, the saltwater crocodile. We have a very healthy population here. We could see many different animals with different sizes. They can grow up over 6 meters, the males. They keep a healthy ecosystem by predating other animals that otherwise will become populations too big. They are massive animals, prehistoric animals, very old creatures even before dinosaurs. So we get the pleasure and the blessing of being able to see many of them here in the Kimberleys, a healthy ecosystem.
Spanning thousands of years and countless generations, the rock art of the Kimberley serves as a profound testament to the rich heritage of its creators. These artworks are not just images, but windows into the past, offering a glimpse into the spiritual and everyday life of the region's first inhabitants. Kimberley rock art is as diverse as the landscape itself. The Wandjina, with its strikingly impressive faces and ethereal forms, represent ancestral spirits believed to have shaped the land and the people. In contrast, the Goyan paintings feature intricate, delicate figures and elaborate patterns. These artworks, some of the oldest in the Kimberley, are thought to depict ceremonies, stories, and the natural world of their creators. Today, these ancient artworks are not just historical artifacts, but living symbols of cultural continuity, offering invaluable insights into traditional knowledge, beliefs, and customs. Set against the backdrop of the Kimberley's stunning natural beauty, the rock art stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of the land and its people.
We have an amazing opportunity to travel off the coast of Australia out into the Timor Sea. We've traveled over 200 nautical miles to this incredible reef. It's called the Ashmore Reef. And this is basically a giant sandbar. It's recognized internationally as a significant bird area where about 100,000 birds breed every year. There's several different types of birds that come here. There's birds called noddies, there's terns, there's frigate birds, there's boobies that come there, and a variety of other birds will use it as a stopping point as well. It is an important place for them because it is basically predator-free for the most part, and all around it there are very, very good, healthy feeding grounds for the birds who will travel many, many kilometers every day in order to find food and then come back to the colony to raise their young annually.
We're in the Anjo Peninsula on Van Sittart Bay, and behind me is the C-53. This is a very significant piece of the World War II and a great legacy of what was the evacuation of Java. This aircraft that we see here was involved in the evacuation of the Dutch from what was then the Dutch East Indies, and regrettably they lost their way on a routine flight back from Perth to Broome. The 5 people aboard all survived, so they all lived happily ever after. Quite remarkable, because this has been in the bush for 82 years and it is in such a relatively pristine condition for that, and represents a significant part of the history of Northern Australia during the Second World War.
The geology is, of course, one of the most spectacular and the most incredible sights and things we get to see about the Kimberley. I think it's the colours and the textures and the contrast of those colours and textures against, the blue of the water and the green of the mangroves that just makes those oranges pop. I think King George, the cruise, and of course getting to the falls is one of my absolute favourites. The gorge that we're seeing is just spectacular, just an incredibly beautiful and ancient landscape.
As our journey comes to an end, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us on this incredible voyage along the Kimberley coastline. During these last 10 days together, we've had so many unforgettable experiences. From exploring the rugged, beautiful, pristine landscape of the Kimberley region to encountering the amazing creatures that inhabit this magical place. And finally, to all the wonderful memories we've made on this remarkable journey together, on board and ashore. It has been a real pleasure sailing with you on this voyage through the Kimberley. So until we meet again, we thank you for choosing Scenic Eclipse 2.